Good morning, everyone. We are continuing here in the words of the CHOFETZ CHAIM, and we're beginning Klal Vav, the 6th chapter here. And the introduction is B'chlal ze Yevar Issa Kabbalas Lashon HaRa Ushmias Lashon HaRa. We're going to explain in this chapter the prohibition of accepting Lashon HaRa, meaning if you're listening, Ushmias Lashon HaRa, and listening to Lashon HaRa. The Eich Yisnaig Adam B'inyanim Elu L'chachila. And secondly, how should a person conduct himself in these matters? If someone's speaking Lashon HaRa to you about listening. And thirdly, if a person finds himself trapped in a group of people that are speaking Lashon HaRa, what should a person do to exempt himself from the punishments that the Torah is going to place upon a person who listens? What does the Torah want from you to behave in such a way? And many other details that are going to arise. There are 12 little paragraphs, seifim, in this chapter. So it says the CHOFETZ CHAIM, there's a prohibition to accept Lashon HaRa min HaTorah, from the Torah, meaning if someone speaks to you Lashon HaRa, you're not allowed to accept it as being true. Whether they're telling you things about someone else that's their failings between them and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or between them and their fellow man. You're not allowed to believe in your hearts that which you are hearing over here is the truth. Because when you believe what you hear, Reuven speaks Lashon HaRa about Shimon, Shimon becomes debased in your eyes if you're going to believe what you hear, the negative reports about him. Even if you are listening to the Lashon HaRa, you don't agree explicitly, you don't say a word, you sit there quietly. And that's still considered, if you accept it, you still transgress. If you're not sitting quietly, and you actually nod your head, oh yeah, I thought so. So then you make this sin double fold. Because now there is the Mesaper, there's the one, he is both a speaker and an acceptor, meaning you, by acknowledging the words of Lashon HaRa that you hear and saying, oh yes, yes, so now you become a Mesaper, you become like the teller over of the Lashon HaRa and the Makabel and the receiver. So you got both, two strikes against you. So the one who accepts the Lashon HaRa transgresses a negative commandment. Shenemar, it says, Leisisa, Shema, Shav. It says in the Torah, you cannot accept a Shema Shav, a false report. And that's, what is that? The sages tell us in the Mechilta, what is this referring to? It's referring to a person that they're not allowed to accept the words of Lashon HaRa. Besides the fact that there are other negative and positive commandments that are going to be associated with accepting Lashon HaRa. Like I wrote above in the beginning, the introduction to the Sefer, Ayin Sham, take a look over there. V'omnu Chazal, and Chazal tell us further, anyone who accepts Lashon HaRa deserves to be thrown to the dogs. Because it says in one pasuk, don't accept a false report. And close to that verse in the Torah it says, La kelev tashlichun oisai. You should throw it to the dog, which is talking about a carcass. You throw it to the dog. Says the Gemara over here, from the fact that accepting Lashon HaRa and throwing it to the dog is juxtaposed together in the Torah, it means that if you accept Lashon HaRa, you listen to the words of evil gossip that was spoken about somebody else, you deserve to be thrown to the dogs. A very serious punishment for a person who accepts Lashon HaRa. Furthermore, say Chazal, the person who accepts Lashon HaRa, the punishment for him is even worse than the one who speaks Lashon HaRa. And the Smag brings down, what is the Smag HaShalim brings down, what is the reason why if you accept Lashon HaRa it's worse than speaking Lashon HaRa? And he suggests because a person who speaks Lashon HaRa, at least he knows whether or not the information is true. So if he's speaking bad words and he knows it is true, he's got a reason why he's saying what he's saying. It's still wrong, but at least he knows. But the one who's receiving the Lashon HaRa, who has no prior knowledge of this information that's being said, and then he accepts it anyway, so he took no knowledge, he agreed to accept what this person is saying, and he was makabel, accepted upon himself these words of Lashon HaRa, so he made himself into a person now who is going to believe negative information about somebody else. That's worse than the person who speaks when he actually knows whether or not what he's saying is true. And therefore says the CHOFETZ CHAIM that shegadol oynish hamakabel yesem min ha'oimroi, greater is the punishment for the one who accepts the Lashon HaRa than the one who actually speaks the Lashon HaRa. And we'll continue tomorrow, Be'ezus Hashem.